It's time for another WrestlePlanet news update as a current WWE champion was sent to hospital. We have an update on the AEW role of William Regal. And Stone Cold Steve Austin has been confirmed for WrestleMania. And if you haven't already, make sure you head over to the WrestlePlanet gaming channel, where we just uploaded a video covering all 57 superstars that were removed from WWE 2K22, and make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on while you're over there. First, let's start with an update on the Cain Velasquez situation, who remains in Santa Clara County Jail following his arrest last week. Velasquez would allegedly try to hunt down, chase, and shoot at a man who was accused of abusing one of his young relatives. The alleged abuser was in a car with his mother and stepfather whilst on bail, and Velasquez would shoot into the car and hit the stepfather. He now stands trial for first-degree attempted murder, shooting into an occupied motor vehicle, and much more. Yesterday, Cain's attorney appeared in front of a judge to ask for bail in order for him to return to his family, but the request was denied. The judge ruled that the risk on public safety was too great. The prosecution claims that Velasquez intended to kill or injure a man named Harry Goulart, but Cain's attorney hopes to vindicate him, and he would tell the media, "We plan on vindicating Cain. We plan on getting Cain back to his family. 40 years of doing this, I can't believe this is what the criminal justice system thinks is the right outcome." Several of Cain's fans were outside the court wearing Free Cain t-shirts, with the next court date set for April 12th, where a plea is expected. On March 2nd, 6th and 7th, New Japan Pro Wrestling would hold round 1 of the 2022 New Japan Cup, and the stage is now set for round 2. So let's run through the bracket match by match, and pronunciation please, get your fingers ready. Kazuchika Okada would defeat El Desperado to advance and will now take on Master Wato, who received a first round bye. Taichi defeated Toru Yano and now goes through to round 3 after a forfeit from Hiroyoshi Tenzan due to injury. Hiroki Goto would pin Yuji Nagata and now faces Dick Togo. Shima beat Taka Michinoku and now meets Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Tetsuya Naito would pin Yujiro Takahashi, advancing to face Gedo. Jeff Cobb defeated Togi Makabe and will now face Satoshi Kojima. Yoshihashi would pin Tomoaki Hanma and now faces Kosei Fujita. Great-O-Khan had already advanced after a forfeit from Kota Ibushi, once again due to injury. Zack Sabre Jr. faces Doki after submitting Raihei Owa. Aaron Hanar would beat Yuto Nakashima, advancing to a match with Sanada. Will Ospreay would pin Bushi and will now face El Phantasmo. Shingo Takagi defeated Tomohiro Ishii to meet Tanga Loa. Chase Owens overcame Jado to face Tiger Mask. Evil pinned Raisuke Taguchi, advancing to face Tamatonga. And finally, Hiromu Takahashi pinned Sho and will now wrestle Minoru Suzuki. The second round will take place on March 14th, 15th, 17th, and 18th. This past weekend, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, would successfully retain her AEW Women's title against Thunder Rosa at AEW Revolution. Before the match, a brand new title belt design was revealed, inspired by the Mid-South North American title. The title itself was made by Belts by Dan, who shared some close-up images of his new masterpiece on Twitter. The belt is a huge improvement on the old one and has a real feel of a world championship. This replaces the old design that debuted on the debut episode of AEW Dynamite, which was later upgraded to a larger version. Baker retained her new belt after a curb stomp on Rosa, with Rebel and Jamie Hayter helping the champion with distractions at ringside. Now let's go to another story from AEW Revolution, as a popular wrestler has picked up an injury. According to Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer Radio, Orange Cassidy would pick up a shoulder injury during the show, although it's unknown how serious it is at this point. Cassidy would compete in the Face of the Revolution ladder match, although it was noted that the injury didn't occur because of a ladder. The knock seemed to happen when he was launched out of the ring by Keith Lee, with Cassidy going flying over the top rope, where he was supposed to land on Christian Cage and Ricky Starks, who were waiting for the catch, but he went too high and took a hard landing. Cassidy would then be checked over by doctors at ringside, and he would sit out for the rest of the match. As mentioned, there is currently no time frame given for his return, but we will keep you updated as any news breaks. And speaking of the face of the Revolution ladder match, let's go to a story regarding the eventual winner, Wardlow. Later on in the night, MJF would battle CM Punk in a dog collar match where the inevitable took place. At the finish of the match, Wardlow would come to ringside, presumably to help his boss MJF score the win by handing him the Dynamite Diamond ring for the assist. However, it appeared that he couldn't find the ring before Punk took MJF out. Wardlow then just happened to find the ring in his other pocket before placing it on the apron for Punk to pick up and use against his opponent, managing to score the 1-2-3. This suggests that Wardlow now intends to go off on his own now that he is the #1 contender for the AEW TNT Championship, with a feud now starting between himself and MJF. It's unknown if Punk will continue to play a part in the rivalry or if he will now move on from MJF, but this was brilliantly executed. We've yet to see Wardlow physically get his hands on MJF, but that's something the company can build anticipation towards as long as they play their cards right. But what do you think of the Wardlow babyface turn? Let me know in the comments down below. A few weeks ago, it was revealed that The Undertaker would be the first inductee into the 2022 class of the WWE Hall of Fame. The second name on this year's lineup has now been revealed, with Vader joining the Deadman as the latest WWE Hall of Famer. Vader is known as one of the industry's best big men, making a name for himself in WWF, WCW, All Japan Pro Wrestling, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. He has won world titles in both Japan and the United States, and won the PWI Wrestler of the Year and the Wrestling Observer Wrestler of the Year in 1993. There is currently no word on who will induct him, but the induction will take place on Friday, April 1st, the day before Night 1 of WrestleMania 38. The former WCW World Heavyweight Champion passed away on June 18, 2018 at the age of 63 and will now be honoured by WWE. On last night's episode of Being the Elite, the Young Bucks and Matt Hardy would add fuel to the Jeff Hardy to AEW rumours, making several references to the charismatic Enigma. Over the past few weeks, many BTE moments have hinted at Jeff's arrival, and this week things continued as AEW's EVPs offered Matt Hardy a spot in the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame, a spot that Hardy turned down. This is a reference to WWE's offer to a Hall of Fame spot for Jeff Hardy, this after they released him in December. The company tried to re-sign him and used this as a bargaining chip, but Jeff said no. Matt Hardy would then tell the Young Bucks about his favourite Ring of Honor moment, referring to the time that the Hardy Boys beat them for the tag team titles in the Expedition of Gold. The segment would close with Matt Jackson calling Matt Hardy an enigma before Matt Jackson told his brother to not get so extreme. According to a recent report from Fightful, Jeff Hardy is scheduled to be in attendance at AEW Dynamite this week, with it unclear if he is booked for the show itself. Last night's episode of Monday Night Raw saw a notable absence as WWE Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch was nowhere to be seen on the show. In an update posted to Twitter, Lynch would reveal that she had been in hospital dealing with a fractured voice box, an injury she sustained at a house show in Allentown, Pennsylvania on Sunday. On the show, Lynch retained her title in a triple threat match against Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, and the incident occurred in a post-match segment that saw Belair punch Lynch before hitting her with a KO. Lynch would take to Twitter to discuss the incident and said, "No fracture, no spitting blood, no whipping is going to keep me from keeping a title no one has beat me for in 3 years. You've only made me more dangerous, Bianca Belair." Becky revealed in a promo linked to the tweet that Bianca Belair hit her as hard as she could, fracturing her voice box, leading to her spitting blood all over the arena. Lynch is set to miss 2 weeks of action, but will face Belair at WrestleMania, where she puts her Raw Women's title on the line. She is said to have been backstage at Raw last night, but was held back from the show. This past weekend's AEW Revolution pay-per-view saw 2 new additions to the AEW roster. The first debut, as reported prior to the event, saw Shane "Swerve" Strickland show up to introduce himself to the AEW audience. Later in the night, William Regal would come down to the ring to force Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley to shake hands after their brutal match, seemingly forming a tag team in the process. Whilst Regal's role is unclear, many are assuming that he will act as the manager and coach of Moxley and Danielson's new teased stable. After the show, AEW President Tony Khan would reveal that Regal will play a role on screen and off screen, and he would say, "I think he can contribute on screen in a major way to Danielson, and he has a history with Jon Moxley. Some of the last matches we saw Regal wrestle were against Moxley, and they had a great rivalry. He's very familiar with both men, and they have a lot of respect for him. We say that after the violence and the way they bled together." They built a lot of mutual respect with each other, and that's very exciting. Also, behind the scenes, I think Regal can teach all of us a lot, and it's great to have him here on screen and off screen. It came together very recently, and he fits very well with what we're doing. Khan would add that he was surprised to see Regal released from WWE, but was very eager to bring him in. William Regal is no doubt a great addition to All Elite Wrestling, bringing value, experience, and a fantastic wrestling mind that not many have. The extent of his influence backstage is still unknown, but he will be useful in any role he's given. And finally, let's go to some more news coming out of last night's episode of Monday Night Raw, as Kevin Owens has called out Stone Cold Steve Austin. Owens would state that he has plans to host the biggest, most stupendous edition of the Kevin Owens Show at WrestleMania 38, before calling out who he described as a lowlife from Texas. He then hinted that he was talking about JBL, Booker T, and Shawn Michaels, before calling out Stone Cold for an appearance on his show, adding that he plans to beat the hell out of him, drop him with a stunner before pouring a glass of milk over his lifeless body. Owens doesn't think Austin will have the guts to show up, but I think we all know the truth about that one. The Rattlesnake today responded with a video posted to social media accepting KO's challenge, stating that Owens had woke up something deep inside himself that he'd hid away for 19 years, and he said, 19 years ago, I wrestled my last match in a WWE ring. After 3 rock bottoms, 1, 2, 3, I lost the match. For 19 years, I had to live with that defeat, knowing my time was up. Kevin Owens, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for waking something up deep inside me that I kept buried for 19 years. Ever since you started running that damn mealy mouth of yours, talking about the state of Texas, the great state of Texas, you got my attention. Why would you want to do that, Kevin? I can think of 2 reasons. You are one dumb son of a bitch. 2, you are fixing to get your ass kicked by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Whether you want to call this the KO show, a match, a fight, a brawl, whatever, I want to guarantee you this. In Dallas, Texas, where I started my career, at WrestleMania, Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to open one last can of whoop ass on you, Kevin Owens. That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. It's currently unknown if the confrontation will eventually turn into a match, but it seems Stone Cold Steve Austin is all in, massively hinting that this could be the big comeback his fans have been waiting for. And with that said, if you're looking forward to seeing the old Stone Cold Steve Austin, give me a hell yeah in the comments down below. And before you go, make sure you check out every wrestler that was removed from WWE 2K22.